Today we're looking at a group evaluation of coaching from Bailey and Angus. The two schools that went were Mount Compass Area School and St Thomas School in Goodwood. The day of the event was two schools at the AFL 9 Carnival, 100 students in St Thomas making 4 boys groups and 4 girls groups of teams, and Mount Compass of 70 students of 3 boys groups and 3 girl groups in teams. The vision of the event on this day was the quote, "Play your way." This is looking at how we can play our own way. The role of the coaches was delivering clinics at the schools and on the day and securing schools as well. Next was determining school rules as what rules would be needed for the games, oval sizes, what are the dimensions in detail and how we divide up the areas, and equipment needed such as footballs and cones. Next was determining clothes equipment of the day. This was like wearing sports uniform, shoes or boots on the day. Further engagement in coaching. This was us looking at previous experience of our coaching and previous knowledge of AFL. Leading the development as a coaching session of the sporting event. This was making sure the umpires were doing their role and making sure everyone understood the roles and making sure the game's going smoothly. Our responsibility on the day was just similar to the last one, just making sure the roles went right, making sure the clinics and everyone was going accordingly, of making sure everyone was having fun.
As coaches, it was our job to design and conduct the clinics for the schools before the carnival and on the day of the carnival. We believe that we accomplished this effectively and timely, as there were minimal issues with the clinics at the schools, and the children from the schools said that they enjoyed themselves. We asked for some assessment from our peers, one of them being, did the clinic seem enjoyable and practical for the students? Majority of them agreeing and others being neutral, which is still a good response ratio. And the second question being, did you think that they enjoyed the games on the day? Majority agreeing and a couple being neutral. The neutral response could be due to the fact that the weather did play an issue on the day and made the game shorter and potentially less enjoyable. For the games on the day, last minute we had to reduce the length of the games due to the weather. Fact that one of the schools rocked up over an hour late. Due to this, the majority of the students responded that the games were actually not a good length. Should the weather policy have not been in place on the day, then the game length would have been longer and potentially more enjoyable for the students. In terms of the school staff, the majority agreed that the games were of good length as they understood the weather policy that we had in place, and if they went for longer, they could have had serious consequences for us and the student. We asked our peers as well if they believed that the games went for a good amount of time, and it was a 50-50 response between agreeing and being neutral or disagreeing. On the day, we struggled mightily for equipment, in particular goalposts, as there was a very last-minute change with the amount of goalposts that we had versus what we were promised. But we did make up for this using random items that we did find. Unfortunately, though, this may have left an impact that we were unorganised, where we were just trying our hardest at the time. Overall, though, the staff agreed that the equipment we provided was adequate for the students, and we asked our peers about the size of the oval, all of which agreeing that it was suitable for the students on the day. For the rules of the game, which we had put in place since week 1 of this topic, we tried to make it as easy as possible for all students in the class and within the schools to understand. According to the survey results, rules were easy to understand for the students and for our peers to umpire, as well as the length of the game suited to the players' abilities.
Next was looking at future advice for the students in doing this topic. Some of the advice we want to give future students is get the clinics done fast as possible. Next is looking at help with most clinics. So instead of doing one clinic, we at least want to do 2 or 3 in the future. What will give them a good demonstration of what a clinic is and what AFL 9s is. Work, as like we saw, we had to change oval plans differently. So work with different oval plans and different designs due to weather and oval changes throughout the topic. And then just make sure at the end that everyone 100% understands the rules with umpiring, because sometimes it wasn't so clear to people. Thank you for listening.